This is the Brown Duke Gun Show. My name is JP Garcia, here today with Brandon, Elias, Austin Menard, the same cast of characters. We are united once again after the SHOT Show. And today we're going to talk about training. Spring training, it's 2025. I think it's high time we start to talk about how we're going to tune up for this year, be it in competition, hunting, or just, plain old marksmanship, learning how to use your firearms better. There's no time like the present to put together a training plan and to get out to the range and shoot, right? So what sparked this are two things. One, there's a lot of stuff going on in the club, folks signing up for major matches in USPSA, and, there's a lot of chatter around that. And so really, if you're a competitor, now's a really good time to figure out what your training schedule looks like, because from your training schedule, then you can start to back out what your ammo needs are, right? So, figuring out when you need to get components, when you need to get, your ammo put together, all of that stuff. Or if you order it, then getting it ordered, getting it to you in time to, be able to do the practices that you want to do, right? And if you're not competing, if you're hunting, same thing. When are you getting that ammo, that really premium ammo to zero in your rifle, that kind of stuff. And if you're not in any of those things, and really you're just looking to get better, maybe when are the sales coming? Like thinking about that, your training schedule will back into how much ammo you need and all that stuff, right? The other thing that we want to talk about, we were trying to get him on the show today, just couldn't get the technical stuff worked out, is, friend of the show, Max Michel. He is having a training class, and here's a quick blurb on what he's, what he wants to tell you guys about.
Hey guys, Max Michel here, National and World Speed Shooting Champion. And I wanted to give you an update on a new course that I just launched today. And I wanted to do it live on the show, but we weren't able to figure it out. Louisiana boys trying to be tech savvy just doesn't happen. So here we are dropping in a video where it makes sense at some point during the show. But I'd love to have you guys out there. The course date is March 8th through the 9th, so just about a month away or so. And it's a great way to get your season started, to brush up on some skills that maybe you already learned or some new skills that you want to take into the season. March 8th through the 9th at the MIGZ Shooting Range in Jeanerette, Louisiana, just outside of New Iberia. It's going to be great weather. We'll probably have 10 to 12 students. The cost will be $650 each, and it's going to be an 8 to 4 type of a day each day, and you can look to shoot about 1,000 rounds during that weekend as well. We're going to have lunch provided by one of our local Cajun buddies, so the food's going to be great, the weather's going to be great. We're going to go over the fundamentals of speed shooting, which is the recoil management system, the draw, reloads, transitions, movements, entries, exits, you name it, we're going to be covering it, and so much more. So I hope to see you out there in Jeanerette, Louisiana, March 8th through the 9th. For more information, check out maxmichel.com.
Yeah, come to New Iberia. It's going to be,
it's at Blake's Range.
At Blake's Range. Max will send you the details of that. Right.
And anybody that doesn't know who Max is, he's like a 10-time world champion or something.
Yeah. Max Michel needs no introduction to us, right? We've all taken classes from him, but he is the sponsored shooter for Sig Sauer.
Team
captain, no less.
Put some respect on his name.
That's right. Well, and he's been that for 20 years or something. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. So he's been there for 17 years.
Winning world championships.
Went through AMU team with Army marksmanship, and then won world champions, national champions, and in speed shooting.
World record holder.
Yep.
Yeah.
All that stuff. So go look up his name
and take a class. It's it is actually a hard thing to do these days to get into a Max Michel class, because he's not really teaching.
Very difficult.
At the consumer level anymore. He's really, catering to that law enforcement, military market. So to be able to get into a class at all is a treat for folks. So.
And especially if you're local. Like if you're in Louisiana, that's local. Whether even if you're in Shreveport, like your expenses for this class would be like almost nothing, right? Because we have people fly in from California, like we had a kid from the Philippines a while back that came into a class. So
Florida, people drive in, Chicago.
You got a hotel cost and all that stuff. So like if you're within the Baton Rouge area and like Lafayette area, you should definitely take this class, because you can sleep at your own house, you can drive. That saves so much expenses. But about 1,000 to 1,500 round count. I think he says 1,500 rounds for a round count, plus 650 for the class. Like that's pretty good. That's great.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, this is like the equivalent of taking a hockey class from Wayne Gretzky.
Yeah, absolutely. Or a golf lesson from Tiger.
Yeah, this is the equivalent.
Yeah. So, well, and it's not just for seasoned, or very experienced competition shooters, right? And I think I'm glad, Austin, that you're here to talk about this today, right? Because I think your first foray into USPSA before you'd ever shot a match was taking a max class.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, my first ever, like you said, first ever introduction to USPSA shooting was a max class, and I remember seeing it, and I texted Brandon, and I was like, hey, I really want to take this class, but I don't think I'm qualified to take this class. And he was like, no, everyone's qualified to be able to take this class. So don't let any kind of experience or anything dissuade you from taking this class. It's an incredible experience. And in the USPSA space, think about it. I went into it with zero experience and came out with like the most severe addiction I've ever had in my life.
So, as long as you're like a average range shooter,
competency,
so competence is definitely there, safety, but like you can't just be like, hey, I just now bought a gun. I want to take a fast class. Like, no, you're not even close.
And it's not because you won't get any. It's not because you won't like. You might not learn something. It's because you won't get what you need to get out of the class.
Right. Yeah.
There's too much prelogue to what you need.
Yeah.
There's only one exception that I can think of, and he is local to us also, and that's Eugene. But Eugene is a special kind of athlete, right?
Yeah.
Like he is,
and he had like firearm safety stuff.
Correct.
Like we got him up to speed before he got to that class, right? So
certainly,
he had a holster and all that stuff. So if you don't have a holster or belt, then like, hey, maybe not take class. But like if you have a holster and a belt, and like you've already invested in that gear and you're starting to train that, then yeah, it's time to take the class.
Certainly. Yeah, and even as a new shooter, right? A lot of takeaways, a lot of stuff to work on, right?
Yeah, and it was like I had a different idea of shooting before I took the class. Like I was came from like more of like the tactical side versus the competition side. So yeah, there was a lot of takeaways, a lot of lessons learned, and like a lot of what I know today shooting wise came out of that class, like that 2-day class.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
And like I said, like the most severe addiction I've ever had in my life. Like after that class, it was like, cause it's very similar to like we talked about, like if you took a golf lesson from Tiger Woods, like you would only want to play golf for the rest of your life. Right.
For sure.
Cause you see somebody with that caliber of experience do it, and you're like, okay, like it's incredible what these people can do,
Sure.
So yeah, definitely. I can't recommend it enough, especially as like you said, somebody that comes from, like me being the person that didn't think I was qualified for this class and then took it and was like, this is the coolest thing ever. And I learned so much.
And accelerated your shooting proficiency and all of that stuff.
Insane amounts. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I think that's the main thing, and we talked about this, over, multiple shows before and also outside of this. Max is one of those special, high level, elite level athletes that can not just talk the talk, right? And like, but he's walked it already, but he can also teach you.
Yeah.
That's what I'm getting.
He's
at.
also an instructor. Like he's a teacher. So everybody can be an instructor. I've heard that before. Like you can tell you what to do, but like he can actually teach you what to do.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is very difficult to find in the firearms industry. And Max is that. He breaks everything down super simple. And he even does it in his own training, right? Like I've very lucky I was able to train with him. I still do train with him. Often I help him teach classes and stuff now. But like even in our regular training program, there's some things where I'm just like, all right, I just got to do it, right? And once I get it done, it's like, hey, I can know how to do it. That's it. Right. That's not good enough for Max. Like he has to say, okay, even though I can do it, I have to break it down and see why I'm doing it that way.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So like every little detail he knows about in detail.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
So it's really great.
Yeah. It's like I tell people all the time, it's like taking a martial art. Right. And that Max he teaches pistol shooting like you're learning a martial art. It's not just, something like, grip the gun and rip 2 shots with it or do whatever. You start from the fundamental stance. You start from, like weight distribution, the grip, where trigger placement, all of that stuff. I mean, getting down to the nitty gritty. Of course, I mean, even in the beginning, he starts off, I think he gives you like a 40-minute just overview
how to grip a gun. Yeah. It's like crazy. Yeah, and even then you're sitting there and you're like, oh, okay, all right, yeah, learning something here.
Yeah. Well, and the craziest part, I think it's part of taking a class from somebody like this is that you can hear people say this, right? And you can say, oh yeah, okay, this is what I'm supposed to do, but you don't ever get an idea of what good is supposed to look like. You know what I mean? It's like,
especially
okay, yeah.
fundamentals, right? Because like Max is the king of fundamentals.
Yeah.
Everyone will say that. Like,
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. Like they can be the next world champion this year. Like, Christian said it at his award ceremony at Nationals this year. He's like, I also like to thank like all the people that's helped me out. JJ with movement, Max with fundamentals. Like he actually pointed him out for fundamentals. Like
Sure.
he is the person to teach that.
Well, and you'll be able to see like the one thing I always thought when taking classes from like elite guys is that you are able to see in person. Oh my gosh, like what is possible with a pistol?
Yeah.
This guy, he's shooting 17 splits and it's like hitting the letter A.
Yeah.
It's not just 2 alpha. It's like anywhere. It's like hitting something that's the size of a penny twice at 0.17 seconds in between each shot. It's absurd.
Yeah. Like last class that we taught together, I had the open gun, right? So he usually makes me demo one drill. I usually demo like 666 if I can remember how to count. I'm sure I have all 6 shots.
7s and 5s.
But no, so like I got it. And it was like a really good time. So you're supposed to be under, is it 2 seconds?
Yeah.
For 666. And it was like 1.6. Like it was pretty good because I had an open gun, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, hey, like, yeah, that's awesome. And he's like, dude, you crushed it. I was like, yeah, but I had an open gun. So obviously, like he had to do it whenever everybody else was shooting it, right?
Sure.
And he still like, I think he either mashed or beat me by like 1/100th of a second.
Oh, sure.
With a carry optics gun.
Yeah.
Right. It's like,
right. Oh,
seriously.
man.
Like, yeah, you just had to like, I thought I was doing great.
Yeah.
He's like, nope, you're still not good.
There are levels to this, right?
Yep.
Like you're a grandmaster,
Yep.
but there are levels to grandmaster.
Yeah. Max is great.
Max is at the top.
Yep.
So point is, he's giving a class locally. If you're interested in pistol shooting at all or interested in improving, take the class. Right. I mean, we've all been through it. We've all improved. All can go on and goad about it for longer than we're going to have this show. But I think the point is, if you have the ability, go take that class.
Yep. And I should be there too. I should be helping teach that class too.
Yeah. Cool.
Plus, you'll get to see New Iberia, Louisiana. I mean, that's in and of itself worth the money.
Well, I think, and I may be committing him into it. I think Chad's catering it. So
Yeah,
then
I
you
think so.
have the,
Authentic Louisiana. Well, you won't be able to shoot
Louisiana.
after that, but
you need a nap.
Yeah. But no,
Usually-
seriously, it's like if you're from out of state and you watch the podcast, like it's like you will get a South Louisiana experience, which is pretty cool. And there is like some really cool things to see in the area.
I mean, there's the Avery Island
Avery
stuff.
Island, yeah.
Go take a fan boat tour, go do something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Get in the swamp.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, of course, it's going to be, when is it? It's around Mardi Gras?
Yeah.
Beginning of March. The weather will still be good.
Yeah, there'll still be king cakes. There'll still be crawfish, all of that stuff. So you'll miss the parades, which is actually probably better.
It's better.
Yeah.
We might could do that. I could set up like a crawfish boil.
Oh, yeah?
Something.
We might could.
Yeah, well.
We'll see. We'll figure something out.
Yeah, gotta reach out to them. At Sentry, we'll have some Sentry manufacturing swag,
Yeah, might be fun.
Gives out
do a
some
little crawfish boil.
stickers. Yeah.
Huh.
So,
I'll look into that.
We'll definitely get some king cakes. We'll bring some king cakes to the range.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
Cool. Wow. I'll look into that.
Okay. Well, very good. So, that's Max's class. Max is giving a class. Take it. Register. Take it. You'll love it. It's great. And $650 price point.
Yeah.
That's a
Great
perfect,
price point.
perfect price point there. Training. So, since we're talking about USPSA, I think you're going to shoot the Dragons Cup in, when is that? May?
I think it's in September, someone told me. So
It's in September.
Yeah. So I thought that it was, you had told me it was in May, but then David actually came into the shop the other day and said that it was in September.
It's in September.
So I got to see, yeah.
Oh.
Figure out, because in May it's like coming up pretty close. So I was going to start training pretty soon. But if it's in September, I have some time.
Well, I sent Marco a message. I can't make it. It's, wedding anniversary and blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it is because Andrew sent me a message saying he couldn't do it because it was Mother's Day weekend. And that's in May.
Okay.
So
maybe David might be wrong. He might be looking at like old ones.
yeah,
Old
if it's
stuff.
September, I can shoot that one. So, but in May, that's a little bit quick of a ramp up. And May's a tough month. It's my wife's birthday, wedding anniversary, Mother's Day.
Like, can't make it.
Triple whammy.
I'm just guessing.
I'll try to look it up real quick and make sure. But
I just hope you have an extra couch, Austin, because if I go shoot that, then I'll just go spend the night. I'll be a babysitter for you guys.
I sent somebody emailed me, not to get off topic on the manufacturing side, asking if we would be in attendance of NRA show in, they're like, yeah, it's April 25th through the 28th. And I was like, I responded to him and I was like, oh, well, my wife's due date with our first child is the 25th. So I was like, I'll ask her if I can make it, and like send it to the guy. And he like responded. He's like, no, don't do that. Don't do that.
So it is in May. It's May 9th through May 11th. I think that's what David probably saw. He saw 9, so he thought it was in September.
Okay.
But it is in May. Yeah.
David, did he sign up for it?
I don't think so.
Start training, dude. Yeah. Start training now.
So I definitely gotta start training then.
Well, especially that's early season, but that's Dragon, right? Dragon is like nationals.
That is
it's essentially nationals. Yeah. So
I think it's better than nationals. I like it better than nationals because it's all field courses and it doesn't have any shark courses on it. There's movers on like every stage. I think very technical match, very difficult match. Every stage is like a winning stage, I guess you could say, right? Like whenever you get to a match, like you have some stages that you can kind of like, hey, everybody's going to have the same hit factor. But then there's some stages like, okay, you can really excel at this and it really shows your skill level.
Right.
That's what Dragon is every stage.
Yeah.
Like it shows your skill level.
Where is it?
It's in Odessa.
Oh, that's the one in Odessa.
Yeah.
Is that,
Marcos
Place?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah. It's Marcos Place. It's a great place. It's a great range to shoot.
Yeah.
I think for me, I don't mind short courses that much. You and I talk about this all the time, but I think what sets it apart is just it's the stage design, like the way that Billy puts together the stages and just hides things in plain sight, puts things far away that makes sense. It changes. It makes you change all of your normal shooting habits, right? Like change cadences, change like comfortable positions and shooting. I could take this straight up here, but if I run around, I could save 5 steps, but I'd have to lean and get it. That kind of stuff.
Also the bays, they're all set up the same.
Yeah.
So you have bays that are all probably 30 yards by 25 yards, right?
Yeah.
So like it's not like, hey, we have a small bay here, we have to put like a small stage and everything's gonna be close.
Yeah.
It's like they can put targets at 5 yards and they can put another target at 30 yards.
Yeah.
Right. So it all depends on how they set it up, and they usually have stuff that's very like you have to hit this position, or there's a disappearing target here, or you can see this target from multiple different places, so you can take it in different areas.
Yeah.
Like it's very technical. And then you're also shooting it in the desert, which is usually, super hot. It drains you. Like the sun's always out.
Gear, you got to cover up all your gear.
It's sandy.
You got to clean your mags all the time.
So it is a very technical and mental match.
Yeah. If you
mentally draining.
Shoot it if you like. For the experience, for sure, shoot it if you can at all costs. Shoot it in 2 days.
Yeah,
don't shoot it all day. That was you and I both have made that mistake.
I did that
in separate years. Yeah, same. My first year, I shot it.
I drove, walked stages one day, shot it all on the Saturday, I think it was, or the Friday, and then drove back home after the match.
No, you've lost your damn mind.
I was like, I had to stop at Buc-ee's in Baytown, I think it was, to like sleep for 30 minutes because I was about to pass out. Like, on the road. Like drove another 12 hours back.
He ate like 3 brisket sandwiches. You weren't sleeping. What can we talk about what are you guys shooting this year?
So I'm gonna shoot Dragon's Cup for sure. And
Divs?
Division.
Open.
Shooting open.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to shoot open and everything. Just because I haven't got the limited optics guns.
Yeah, I know you haven't had a chance to train with them. I was just curious if that would be the timelines. You shooting open?
Yeah, for major matches, I'll shoot open. Okay. I think all the locals and a lot of the training, I'm going to shoot that. I'm going to try to shoot lim ops.
Okay,
just with a carry gun.
Oh, with the CS?
Yeah, just for no other reason than to just actually get familiar with the CS.
Good. That's pretty cool.
So yeah, I'm gonna try it out.
Okay, I was just curious.
Yeah. But
I'm still waiting on dots for the limited optics guns and waiting on guns for carry optics. So,
are you going back to carry out?
Well, like I'll get those other guns whenever they come in, just to have like another division to shoot.
Okay.
They're not gonna be out for a while, so
got it.
We're hoping middle of the year to have them.
Yeah. Cool. But yeah, I think all majors open. You know, it'll save. It'll also probably save on practice ammo and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's marginal. It's not good. It might save us $150 on the year.
Yeah.
Honestly.
It saves headache.
Yeah.
Like having
picking up brass
and having to hurry up and load it and keep the machine flipping and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Which I need to fix the machine.
Oh gosh,
I still need to wait. I need to call John Vliger for that.
Okay. Well, yeah, John Vliger for Mark 7. If you guys need a Mark 7, call him up. But from a training ramp perspective, so that's in May. Probably start getting the gun in your hands, late March or early April.
Yeah, that's what I think
6-week training.
I'll probably start Max's class around that time. So
and then just keep training up
and
from
keep
that.
training up and kind of coast a little bit after Max's class, because that usually is a good thing to go back on fundamentals. So it'd be great to start on that because I can make sure my grip, stance, all that fundamental stuff is squared away.
Right.
And then keep working on that until the end of March, and then in April kind of start working some stage designs and some moving targets. That way by May, beginning of May, I'm ready for the match.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I think my plan is going to be, I want to start training up right around the same time, right around March, time frame. But it's really going to be more of a slow burn, and because last year I only shot one major, right? I shot Arkansas, and my training for that, what I think, gosh, what I would have eight or 9,000 rounds in the bucket or something like that. And I shot it in 7 weeks.
Yeah.
So it was just literally cramming for the test. And, and it's I did okay. But I think the learning from this year is that, okay, let's try to stay consistent, even though I'm not shooting a match till October. Mm-hmm. But the problem is in October, I'm shooting 3 matches, right?
Gotcha.
It's going to be Area 4, Area 6, and then Nationals.
I think that's what I'm going to do too. I'm going to do the same exact setup. I'm just going to add Dragon's Cup.
Yeah.
And probably Gator at the end of the year.
Oh, yeah, and Gator, of course, Gator. Yeah.
But since they're all congested at one time like that, it's going to be pretty easy. Once you get geared up to it, if you're shooting matches every other week, it's so easy because you just go to 2 practices in between and you're already tuned up for it, right? So you don't have to really cram for the test. You have to cram beforehand.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. So that's kind of my thoughts. If I can get myself to feel up to 80% right, by May, June timeframe, and shooting 9 minor, then it's okay, then go through the summer and just kind of keep skills up. Maybe target 500 to 500 rounds a week, for through the summer, and then maybe August start to get. Then I'll flip to the open gun from the limb ops, flip to open, and then get used to the open gun, and then just keep that training, and then really September maybe 1,000 rounds a week.
Yeah,
That's
how I'm gonna try to congest everything to kind of budget on ammo until right before the match.
Sure.
I haven't touched, I think I practiced one time since Nationals, which was in October.
Yeah.
So just saving up all that cost in order to wait until March and then start spending more money on ammo then.
Yeah. Well, it makes sense.
And people ask about that all the time. They're like, well, how much ammo do you shoot and everything? And it's if you're starting to come up, then you got to training all year is going to help. But then if you also get burned out, it's not good to do that. So you can conserve ammo costs and push it towards the end and congest it, right? To where you can actually shoot 500 rounds of training per session instead of just shooting 100 rounds.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I think that's exactly right. The more training you've done in the past, the less you need to kind of get to the same level.
100%.
Now if you're trying to crack crack levels or, kind of, improve skills, then you need to
shoot all year round.
Shoot more.
Yeah.
And last year was just a weird year for me, at least. I only shot one major, and it was one of those things. It was a fun major, it was the major we took everybody to, and so then it was more of a social time than anything. So then it was as it was coming around, I was God, I need to really start shooting.
Yeah.
And I probably said that for 3 podcasts.
Before you went shoot.
Before you finally went out.
Yeah. And then and then it was geez, I should have been shooting 2 months ago, but so it's going to be like that too. But anyway, so speaking of, I think the club match we're going to try to do as a club, it makes sense now that they're having Gator. We're going to do Gator. Yeah. So in November, Austin, be ready for baby will be hopefully sleeping through the night by then, and
no practice, dude. I'm coming for blood.
Well, at least hopefully Jay can hook us up with some food again, and do the whole. The whole party type thing we did last time.
And we are sponsoring the match too. Sentry Defense and Sentry Manufacturing is sponsoring it. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
So we have a squad that's reserved, but I don't know if we're going to sponsor a stage or what. I don't know how Brent wants to do that, but we're definitely going to have like giveaways and stuff like that.
Oh, cool.
Stuff on the prize table, and I think inside the
in the bags.
baggies.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool. Nice,
So,
nice. So
Yeah, I'll try to make. I said this at the end
3
of last
years
year.
ago.
well, if you're sponsoring the match, you got to go now.
But yeah, I'm gonna try to attend some of the matches too because I like the sport, you know.
Yeah.
So I mean, and I know I'll get a lot of crap for not shooting, but again, I like to travel with the best. I'm just the posse.
That's right. He's our bouncer.
Yes, right. Yeah, I'll be the security, and they're like, "That guy's a security. Like, he's not very good at it."
You know, the one thing I have figured out with this streaming box is that you like with a internet source like a hotspot, you can stream from anywhere. So you could be like you could do commentary.
Yeah.
It's like, look at this jerk.
Yeah. Oh, dude, y'all don't want to give me access to that.
Like, what is it, Skylink? Or
Yeah. You can do Starlink, but I have like a little T-Mobile hotspot.
Yeah.
But it does the same thing. I tested it out for shot, but yeah,
I'll do that. Oh yeah, I'll do that for 100%.
Can you imagine?
I ruin careers. I plug it up to my Peltors and like,
hurt feelings. Yeah. Oh man.
Like, oh, Brandon Elias with another mic.
That was a great run, but let's see the scores. Let's go see the targets.
That's suspenseful music Max was talking about. That's right. Like, crank it up.
I don't know what the hell
that was Christmas music. I don't know what Max has a different. Max gets really nervous around Christmas time. I guess that was funny. But no, I'll definitely attend some of the matches, especially because like we want to do some more sponsoring stuff with manufacturing, and especially if we do get into the competition space. That way, when we do that. You know, our name will kind of be out there, and and then you and I kind of made a joke about it, but like we're trying to maybe shoot some PCC stuff, and
well, if you guys have the charging handle out, I'll shoot PCC. Yeah, I don't mind. Yeah,
in 2026 too, I plan on doing some more international matches.
Yeah,
I talked to Aaron at SHOT Show, Aaron Edens, and he shoots a lot with the AMU team.
Yeah,
and he's like, like let me know. He can facilitate like all the flying in guns and all that stuff. Like,
cool.
He does it so much that he's like, I could definitely help you with that. So I do want to try to get some of those.
The Czech Republic one, that's the one I've heard, like
Czech,
the Euro
Greece,
Extreme.
And the one in Caribbean Open, I've always wanted to go
Caribbean Open. Yeah.
It's pretty close.
Caribbean Open, Puerto Rico. Edwin says Aruba. Like if we're doing
they're not too
vacation
far,
ones,
and they're kind of vacations. So like, I definitely want to do that. But
I guess I have to go to those.
You got to go to Aruba.
I guess you have to go to all those.
We got to sponsor Aruba.
Yeah, that's unlucky. That's
unfortunate.
That's unlucky. I guess I'll go
shoot PCC.
Just sign me up. No, I'll just be there.
Yeah,
that's definitely in 2026. I'm
Pina colada.
That's right.
We'll have a few of them on the schedule.
When's World Shoot?
Is it this year?
26? Oh, is it this year?
Yes,
25?
this year. 25. It's in, I think it's like middle of the year.
Oh, good. Then we'll hear who the next World Shoot is. Yeah. I don't want to go to South Africa.
Yeah, that's a lot of people are discouraged about that and they're worrying about going over. But I talked to Kevin Morgan's dad this past weekend, and he was saying I think it's in like June or July or somewhere around there, because he said that all the area matches that we plan on going to is after World Shoot.
Oh,
yeah.
So she's gonna crush everything. She's gonna be tuned up.
Yeah, tuned up and everything.
Way beforehand, before nationals, before everything. So what? No, carry out nationals is when?
June. It's June. Yeah.
Okay, so carry out nationals is tune up for World Shoot for
probably
her.
so.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. So interesting. I am hoping that the next World Shoot's in the Philippines. Guys, we're gonna have a good time.
Yeah, I would love for it to be in the Philippines. I would definitely want to go.
Yeah. We're gonna have a good old time over there. So. People are already talking about, like all of my old Houston buddies and all of, my family from the Philippines are like, next time you come back, it's going to be on. Yeah. Like, bring the kids, bring everybody. Like, okay, yeah, we'll hit the beaches, do all the stuff. Cool. So that's that. That's kind of what our training looks like. I guess, one thing that I, kind of deep dive a little bit into it before we talk about hunting and like just personal defense type training, for this spring. What does training look like for you when you're starting up? Like, because you and I both haven't shot. You haven't shot since nationals. I haven't shot since Arkansas.
Yeah.
So what do you usually do?
Fundamentals, like going back to set drills that I already have data on from previous years.
Yeah.
So if you don't have any data, then like still start you start it now, right?
Yeah.
So like 20 alpha, 666, like
Yeah.
drills that you know of, you have documentation of, and like you can set them out at any range pretty much and know the distance of it,
Yep.
shoot it, get a score, whether it be like hit factor score or like what 666 is, a time score or like just an accuracy score, to where you can go back to that and make sure like, hey, I'm still hitting this.
Right.
And if I'm not, then why am I not doing it, right? What fundamental is failing? So
Yeah.
it could be grip, it could be stance. That's usually what 666 and stuff deals with a lot. It could be sight picture or sight patience, like making
Right.
sure that you're getting a good sight picture at that distance, like especially those farther targets. And then like getting all that stuff squared away before you move on to anything else, right?
Right. Before movement and
Yeah.
anything.
Movement's like for me, movement's very easy. Like I'd never really lose it. So the second that I go back into a stage, like I don't find that I take a step back and have to relearn it. Like,
Right.
It's one of those things that like it just happens.
Yeah.
But I definitely lose like transitions, grip pressure. So like not shooting enough. Like I have to like, hey, I'm relaxing too much of my grip, so I have to go back to squeezing the gun as hard as possible.
Right.
And sight patience, like making sure
That's a
that
big
I
one.
can see what I need to see. Because I try to like push it too fast at the beginning instead of being like, hey, just shoot the speed and then let your eyes catch up, right?
Right.
Like eventually your eyes start seeing faster. I know that like sounds weird. I always tell people that. I'm like, it sounds stupid because it almost sounds like a superpower, but like as you start picking up little details, like your eyes are like moving to the target a lot faster.
Right.
know?
Yeah. So same. I'll start and really it's just grip work, you know, and what I mean by grip work is like, okay, let's shoot, first you zero the gun, you shoot a group. I don't like to shoot groups more than 5 shots because then you'll just sit there like, I'll spend 30 rounds shooting groups, if I let it get away from me. But as soon as I know, okay, well, I can prove to myself I can put, round on round at a certain distance, say 5-10 yards, whatever it is, then, okay, let's start, exercising the grip a little bit. So, and I really kind of just build it from the trigger finger in, outward. So then it's grip. I spend a lot of time on grip, right?
Yeah, I did too.
Like doubles. I do a lot of doubles, 666, a lot of recoil control type.
And stance is kind of weird for me too, because like I'll work on stance, but then if I like start something with movement, like jump into movement, my stance is already perfect because like
you're ready to move.
Yeah, you're ready to move, right? So I had to learn that last year. It's like, man, why am I like doing this so much? Because the second I get into movement, it's going to be right? So like trying to just be a little bit more aggressive in stance from the beginning instead of just kind of standing up and shooting groups or shooting whatever it might be, like more bullseye stuff. Yeah. Like getting into a moving stance, then shooting the gun.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, same. I'll do. For me, it takes me like I have to actually shoot a match. Shoot a match or two, and then remember that, I'm supposed to move on this. I'm supposed to go here. I'm supposed to do this. Then it's like, okay, yeah. After a while, it's like I don't necessarily need to practice the, like the standing part of it because then when you're getting ready to shoot, you just kind of automatically do it.
Yeah. The only time I have to worry about standing is around barricades. Because like I'll notice I'll kind of get relaxed and kind of like lean back a little bit and like don't have my weight as far forward because I'm trying to like lean around something. So I have to like when I start working barricades, like, hey, today that's what I'm going to do. And make sure that whenever I get into this position, I'm going to always be like a very aggressive stance around this barricade.
Yeah.
And you can do that at indoor range. Like we have these little like pole things that you can bring. Some guy brought paper towel holders. Paper towel holders.
Okay, yeah.
And he put like a PVC pipe on it, and that was his barricade.
Okay.
Right? So it's like, just lean around the barricade.
Sure.
So you can practice that in a booth and making sure like you're taking one step, getting into the position, and then making sure you're in a positive stance.
Yeah, don't shoot the booth.
I was about to say, don't like get out of the booth and shoot into.
Yeah.
Seen
Don't
it.
do that.
Yeah.
We had a guy the other day getting in prone position on the range.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
We had a meeting, and me and Dalton and Brandon were in the office. And for any of our shooters, if you don't know, we have cameras, by the way, that we watch very frequently. Yeah. And so we're having a meeting, whatever. And I think like I was talking about something. And I was like, yeah. So anyway, we put. What is that? And like they all look and they're like, it's like laying down.
He was like trying to sight in a rifle or something, but he's like in prone position and the range.
Like, why? Because that bench that has the rifle rest is not good enough for him. Like what the hell?
No idea.
I was like, Is that against the rule? I think that's against the rules.
Because the range is not set up to be shooting from that low.
No.
And then he's like putting up a target, so he doesn't understand it's going.
Oh, geez.
Up,
Oh, so
right?
he's shooting up at the
He's
target?
shooting up at a target, right? Because he's not like hanging
come
it all
on,
the way
man.
down. Because you have to have like 3 targets in order to hang it all the way down.
Yeah.
It's like, no, you can't do that.
Oh, jeez.
Anyway, I digress.
Wow.
Have a little bit of common sense. If you have any questions, come and ask one of the range officers. And
Yes.
we'll get you set up.
Yeah, if you're going to do something like that, ask before you do
Something
it.
out of the ordinary.
Ask before you do it.
Yeah.
So even if you're going to practice barricades, ask before you do it. They'll show you.
Show you exactly. And we might have like better options for you, right? Like you might not have thought like, oh, I can do this. Like that's pretty cool.
I brought this plyboard from my house. It's like, no, we're not going to do that.
Yeah.
We can shoot a PVC pipe.
Here. I actually use this instead.
Yeah, exactly.
Boom, this is
It's
what
so
we
much
need.
easier.
Yeah. Don't give yourself a hard time. So, but yeah, no, that's.
But we love to see people practicing.
Yeah, for sure.
We love it. Like a guy asked, we had a couple of new shooters the other day that came with USPSA rigs, and they're like, yeah, we heard you guys say competitions. We're going to start getting into it.
They already had rigs.
Yeah, they had rigs.
Okay.
And they were like, they're like, hey, we want to start getting into it. We went to a different range, and they were like weird about us drawing, so we just wanted to like come over and see like what your rules are. I was like, oh, dude, like you're here, man. Like you made it. Like all we got, I'm gonna come, I'm gonna check out, watch them do 1 or 2 of them, and then like I even told them, I was like, yeah, like when you do it, come and like take the bench down.
Right.
And I showed them how to take the bench down, and they were like, dude, this is awesome.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is what we do, man. Like
It's a range built by a shooter.
That's right.
Like, that's
Yeah.
the thing.
that's like what I told him. I was like, it's a range, like you're doing what this range was built for, you know?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And then they were asking about like AR stuff, and they were like, when we shoot, like we want to shoot drills, like how fast are we allowed to shoot? I was like, if you can hit what you're aiming at, you can shoot as fast as you want.
Literally as fast as your finger will go. I guarantee you'll not shoot faster than the stuff that shoots in this. Like,
Yeah.
You know,
That we shoot in here.
yeah. Well, I was gonna say you got the machine guns.
guns,
You know,
everything
like
else,
you're not gonna shoot any faster than the machine gun.
So they were like, oh, this is it. Found our place.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah.
So if they have gear, had they competed before? See, now I'm like completely not thinking about the show. I'm like, oh gosh,
I don't know.
who are these guys?
I don't know. They may have came to a match already. This was before SHOT Show.
Okay.
I don't even remember much about them. I just remember they were like, "Oh, this is awesome. This is the place," you know.
Yeah.
So I was like, "Yep, welcome to it."
There you go.
Yeah,
Well,
membership spikes. Membership has spiked in the past 3-4 months, which has been awesome.
Oh, good.
A lot of people are hearing about us and kind of what we have to offer. So we're like, I mean, this might be a little exaggerative, but it's like a member every other day now.
Oh, wow.
Which is awesome for us.
Hey,
you know, not just from a business standpoint, but because like we're building a clientele. You know.
oh shit! You know what I haven't done, and I need to do that at the matches. I always say, I always tell people to get memberships in the beginning of the year, so that if you're shooting USPSA matches, it pays for itself.
That's right.
Yeah,
Yep.
it pays for itself. Actually, it pays for itself by June.
Yeah.
just being clear. So if you get your membership in January, you will have paid for it by June. So.
Yeah.
Good time to get a membership. Good time to get a membership.
Yep.
So
100%.
So let's table the competition and training for a bit, and then I guess get into since I'm not a hunter, I don't know, but I know you do a lot of hunting, Austin. What in spring? What type of prep do you need to do? Do you need to think about, as a hunter?
Yeah. So I think you kind of hit the nail on the head earlier. You kind of mentioned a little piece about it. There's not much. I mean, I'm weird about my stuff. So I'll sometimes if we're slow at the shop, I'll go grab my rifle and put a couple rounds through it, just to make sure that it's still zeroed and everything.
I think that with hunting season finishing, you need to make sure the guns are cleaned.
Yeah.
And put away.
Yeah, that's
thing.
exactly the next thing I was gonna say is that I'll zero it and make sure my action is clean and everything. I'm a little weird about I'll pass a rope down the bore, no brushes or anything, because I want to keep it copper coated, keep it nice and tight. And
so there's the thing. I we talk about this outside of the show, but why a snake versus a brush?
So if you ask the PRS guys, the precision rifle guys, and Brandon knows a lot more about this than I do, but my understanding of it and my kind of, mindset about it is when you get a rifle brand new from the factory, right? Your lands and grooves are perfectly clean, and they're perfectly clean, but they may have some some microscopic burring and stuff like that. So the initial break-in period for the gun is I do for instance, right now I'm actually building a rifle for my uncle. I'm actually building 2 guns right now, 2 bolt action guns for my uncle and somebody that I see as an uncle. Okay. And he was asking me about what is your break-in period for this gun that you're building for me look like? And it's like, well, my plan is 5-shot. I'm gonna 5-shot group 20 rounds through it. Cold bore. So I shoot 5 shots, let the bore cool down, 5-shot groups, let the bore cool down, 5-shot, and then see how the gun's grouping. And you can usually, depending on the gun, if it's an extremely high-end gun, you probably won't see a cold bore shift. But essentially all I'm doing is copper coating your barrel and removing any micro burrs that might be from the manufacturing. Okay. After that, I'll pass a snake through it, just bore, just to get any unspent gunpowder, just to get any loose copper, anything that's loose in there, because after that I want your bore to be copper plated, because it's actually going to tighten up the bore and make the gun more accurate.
Versus the
brush, which can remove some of that copper from the lands and from the grooves, correctly? Yeah. Remove from the grooves. Yeah. So you'll have certain spots that have open grooves and certain spots that are copper coated grooves. So you've got these inconsistencies, right, in the barrel. So. And then the other extremely, extremely important thing that I try to stress to all my hunters is that whenever you buy ammo, the best thing, sure, you can go to a store and buy the ammo, but the best thing that you can possibly do is, if you've decided on an ammo, go to a gun shop and order it from them. Order 10 boxes of ammunition from a gun store, because you're going to get basically a batch of ammo. So your 10 boxes are within a batch. Don't go buy a box every time you go hunting, because you're getting different ammunition from different boxes.
It's different load.
Different lot numbers.
Yeah, it's different. Exactly. So, and will there be major deviations? No, but if you're that, fixated with it as we are, then, so there's 2 different hunters in my mind. There's the hunters that, and neither of these are bad practices. It's just what category you have yourself in, right?
Where are you hunting at, too?
Yeah. So, for instance, I have a 308, right? Yeah. And you can ask anybody that's come into the shop that has ever asked me about calibers, is that I tell them that I'll kill anything in North America with my 308. Now, there's some caveats to that. If I pull a Montana elk tag, once in a lifetime thing, I am going to build a 300 Win Mag to shoot this elk, and I'm going to practice with it. Because if I do have that 800, 900 yard shot, I would be a little bit more confident with a 300 Win Mag. Sure. But I can tell you that I would also be confident taking that shot with my 308. But when a once in a lifetime experience, if you pull go shoot a cow or something, I would definitely do it with my 308, mainly just to show you that I can do it, right? So we practice with that gun. But anyway, so I have one gun, right? I have one gun that I do everything with. Everything I've ever killed since I've got that gun has been with that gun. Doesn't matter what it is, right? So I'm really particular about the ammunition that I put through it, checking it, the way that it's cleaned, even down to the suppressor, right? I keep the suppressor clean. So that's the one type of hunter, to my mind, is that they have one gun that they are very comfortable shooting with out to 700-800 yards, right? Okay. And then the other hunter is your Louisiana based hunter, or your brush hunter. Your brush hunter, right? Yeah. Where they're I'm not taking a shot past 100 yards. We love those people too, because they're very easy to work with. Where they're I shoot this particular type of ammunition. I go buy a box every year, and it's there's no issue with that whatsoever. You're never going to see a shift in the ammunition, unless you just so happen to get a really bad batch. So.
At 100 yards,
they sight the gun in once a year,
half an inch or something.
Yeah, it's not going to matter.
Ammo loads.
And you're not not to on them, but you're probably not that good of a shot anyway. So and most people aren't, But we're talking about shooting out of off of tripods and stuff, where it's all you have to do is pull the trigger, right? So where versus there might be taking actual shots off a blind and stuff, where there's a lot of factors and stuff. So if you're that type of hunter where you're buying a box of ammo every year, you're sighting the gun in once a year, then really there's not much you really
You don't need- yeah.
you don't need to do. I'd recommend it. I'd recommend every month or so, take the gun out, shoot it, keep it, make sure the optic is being zeroed, clean off the dust off the optic, make sure you got scope caps, make sure that the bore is nice and clean. You're not building up dust in it.
Right.
You need to clean the gun after hunting season.
Yeah.
Because those guys
it's
are
gonna rust.
famous for that.
Yeah, it's going to
really?
rust.
Oh, they go to the hunting range or like go into the hunting lodge. They'll shoot whatever they need to shoot, and they come back home. They put it in a safe, and that's it.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's like
Go ahead.
moisture and everything else that's on the gun. And it starts rusting over time.
Yeah.
Then they come back to the range right before hunting season. Hey, clean this gun.
Yeah.
It's like already damaged.
Yeah, it's like it's going to take us days to fix this thing.
Right.
So so then you got the other one. I'm gonna get that reminded me of something, so I'm gonna get into it in a second. Then the other type that's kind of like me, where it's like I'm very very particular about my one gun, and I kind of like will wake up in the middle of the night, like randomly be like, God, is my gun zeroed? And it's the middle of May, So it's like there's people like that. So then those people, I would say like once a month, buy your ammunition in bulk. At this time of year, and until hunting season, shoot that gun once a month. Yeah, check the zero. If you're seeing drifts in zero, there's something up with the gun, right?
Right.
So we can investigate it at that point. But that's my rifle shooting people. Mm-hmm. The other group of people is my duck hunting people. Mm-hmm. These people, good God, I'm not a duck hunter anymore. I don't really shoot. I don't duck hunt. I will do it. Like I'm. 20 I say every year I'm going to do it, and now it's like this year I'm going to have a newborn, my first, so it's going to be very difficult to do, but I'm going to try. I try every year to make like an Arkansas hunt where we can go kill like thousands of mallards, thousands of geese in one hunt, right? And then just stock the freezer for wherever. My marsh hunters, my Louisiana marsh hunters, listen to me. Clean the damn gun. There is so much damage that you do to your gun by not cleaning it that you don't understand. And like you can ruin a gun. Like the gun is unusable at a certain point.
Even like once a week. Like after you go hunting, field strip it and wipe it down because like Louisiana marsh is salt water.
Yeah.
So like it's very hard.
It's corrosive.
It's corrosive. It's very hard on guns.
So we had a pair of guns that came in. I don't know. I think it was December. And we had a pair of twin guns that came in from two guys. They shoot the same gun. And they're frequent customers. And hey, this is you. I'm not talking bad on you. I'm using you as a point to clean the gun.
Right.
So they came to me and Brandon, and they were like, hey, like we just so happen to both of us be up front, which is like if you come into the shop, you know that you very rarely catch either of us up front, like with the new company and stuff, we're busy. But we just so happen to be up front, and they were like, hey, we tried to clean these guns and we can't get them to clean. The barrel is stuck in the gun, and it was a shotgun, semi-auto shotguns.
Yeah.
So the guns were coated from the factory, and one of them I had talked to previously, they were Brownings, had talked to me about the coatings, because if you have never experienced this, pre 2000 and something, 2020 maybe, Browning used a coating on their guns that they did not find out until some year that would deteriorate. Okay. And it would make the guns sticky. So I had one of these guns. I had 3 of these guns.
Okay.
Where like they sat in a safe. I never used them because I stopped duck hunting. And then one day my dad went to go dove hunting with my uncle, and he picked it up and he's like, dude, something's wrong with this gun. Mm-hmm. And I went, and the coating was like super glue. And it was like the barrel and everything was like super glue. And I was like, dude, something's up. So we looked it up, and sure enough, they had a recall.
Okay.
Millions of guns that had this coating issue. So these 2 particular guns were within that time frame that had the coating issue. So the guy's like, I think the coating deteriorated where the barrel goes into the action and it stuck into it. So I'm like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense because the ones I had, they weren't coated.
Right.
Well, the stock was, but not the barrel.
Right.
So I told Brandon, I was like, man, look, here's what we're gonna do. Like, we'll knock the barrels out, and we'll sandpaper off the coating, and it'll probably work. Mm-hmm. So we take these 2 guns in the back and start trying to field strip them, and it's like something's wrong with these guns. Like we have them in the vise trying to pull the barrels off of them, and we can't get the barrels to come out.
Oh my gosh.
So then we get like a rubber mallet, and we're trying to hit the barrels out of them, and I mean like full on force, can't get them to move.
Wow.
So we're like, dude, there's something wrong. So we go back up front, and like him and I are like sweating, and we're like, I'm like, you two come over here. I'm like, when was the last time you cleaned these guns? And they're like, man, we just finished teal season. Like, we just cleaned them. And I'm like, what is clean to you? Like, what is define
How
clean?
did you clean it?
Yeah. And like, well, we took the stocks off of them, which was easy. We got that off of them, and we sprayed rim oil all over them. And I'm like, oh God.
So they never took the barrels off.
They never took the barrels
like,
off.
Fuel stripped.
So I'm like, so I explained to him, like, rim oil does not clean stuff.
Right.
It's just going to cook off the next time you use it and create gunk.
Right.
So they're like, oh, well, we didn't know that, yada, yada. So eventually, like, we resorted to, like,
we beat it off. Like, we had to use, I was telling them, like, hey, we're going to maybe mess up the rib of the gun.
Yeah.
But, like, we have to get this thing off.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, whatever. So I had to take an aluminum punch and punch it off.
Oh, my God.
The barrels off.
like one of us holding a punch and the other one, like sledgehammering.
It didn't mess up the guns, but it's like, you know, that's what we had to go to.
Yeah, so it ended up, what we ended up finding was on the Brownings, and I think most guns are very similar, but the Brownings specifically have this problem. So the barrel lug that sits, the gas port sits within a lug.
Okay,
right?
yeah.
And there's two gaskets that seal off the
chamber thing.
the gas port.
Yeah.
So what happened was they had never taken the barrel off. So the gas port had carbon sealed itself off.
Oh no.
And I'm talking like carbon sealed.
And then it was also rusted because they're hunting in the marsh, right?
Sure.
And the part that goes around that barrel was not coated because it's supposed to be a tight fit for the gasket.
Right.
And then all that salt water got into it and it was like carbon steel. So it just started rusting.
Yeah, it's bad.
Yeah, we had to like sand down it was like starting to pit and everything.
You know how on a suppressor you can like if you're not using some kind of like a carbon killer, you can kind of chip off carbon.
Yeah.
Or like on a blowback gun, like where the like the
Oh yeah, I know exactly.
you
what
could
you're
chip
talking
off
about.
carbon,
Yeah.
right? This stuff was like concrete. It was so bad. So like Brandon said, he had to sand it off. It was so built off. But anyway, we ended up getting it off and fixing the guns. But like we told him, like, guys, like you have to clean your guns.
Right.
So we showed him, and like I'm the king of this. Like Brandon knows, like I don't clean anything. I'm the king of not cleaning guns. And like even I was like, dude, you got to clean your gun. And
It
like
depends on what environment you're in also.
Yeah.
Like if a lot of our guns, they stay indoor range. So it's
Right.
like, hey, as long as they have oil on them, like it's going to sling off the carbon and everything will be fine.
Right.
But if you're bringing it outside in salt water and it's starting to rust,
Yeah.
you have an issue.
Yeah.
And then we also got them like good oil.
good oil.
instead
Yeah,
of,
that was the other thing. It was proper
rim oil.
lubrication and cleaning.
Yeah, we got like Slip 2000s. Like, hey, this is an actual thick oil that it's going to stay where it's going to be at.
Yeah.
Whereas rim oil, the second they spray it on,
It cooks
like,
off.
yeah, they're going to shoot a couple rounds and that thing's burned up, right?
Yeah.
So like you have no oil left. In
Yeah,
the
and it's creating gunk. You know, that's what it's doing. It's turning into carbon. Like you're turning more carbon. You know, so the message to that would be at this time of year, make sure you're cleaning your guns. Make sure they're cleaned. My duck hunters, there's probably not much you're doing this time of year. Maybe stock up on shells. I actually just did that. I'm stocking up on shells for a little bit different reason, but yeah, make sure your guns are clean. There's not much hunting that goes on this time of year unless you're going somewhere else.
Clays. You can go shoot sporting clays. That's
Yeah,
great
sporting
practice.
clays, yeah. I mean, my uncle's going to hunt pronghorn somewhere. I don't know.
Oh wow. Okay.
I think maybe it's not
You
pronghorn.
could probably hunt all year round with exotic ranches and stuff.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Is that like it's something like that. So if you're doing stuff like that, I mean, even in like September, we sighted in that gun for for Michael. So he was doing it in September. So
Moose
there's
hunt or something.
ram hunt. Yeah. Ram hunt. Yeah. So like that's like exotic. It was high fence. So, so that's, there's stuff like that. If you're doing that kind of stuff, yeah, make sure. But I personally recommend buying your ammo in bulk at this time of year and then all the way to hunting season sighting in your gun. So that way the week before hunting season starts, you're not coming to us and saying, hey, I need this gun Friday. Because we're going to tell you like, you're going to pay more because I got 600 guns back there that have the same issue as you. You're not unique, So we try to help out as best we can because we understand, but it's like we're busy as well. So
yeah, you won't be the only one in line.
Yeah. So
if you can buy enough ammo for like the life of the rifle, like that's ideal.
Yeah.
Like what is the life of a barrel? Like 1,500 rounds? 2,000?
bolt action gun? I don't know. I don't know that. I don't know a lot about bolt action guns.
Yeah, it depends on like how much pressure you're going and stuff. But like if you can get like a couple hundred rounds, like that's gonna last as long as you need to. Like think about it, once you sight in the gun after maybe 20 rounds or 30 rounds or whatever, like the rest of it's animals, right? So like if you're sitting there and shooting 200 animals, like
Okay, yeah.
it's good enough.
I see.
But another thing, like Anthony, he's a big hunter, right? And I went to his place, and he has a thing set up that's like a moving target, right? So like he shoots this target, and he waits for it to move, and while it's moving, he's like running the bolt. So like making sure he's staying on the gun. So he shoots a lot of African safari stuff.
Sure.
So if he shoots an animal and it's still charging at him or still running away, like he wants to make sure he takes the animal, he'll run the bolt while he's on the gun. So instead of like, so that's practice for him, right? So instead of like sitting there breaking his shoulder, operating the bolt, and then bringing the gun back up, he just like sits on the gun and operates the bolt.
Right.
I do practice that too. But
So
that's good.
I've seen 3-gunners do that. When I was shooting 3-gun, there were guys who shoot bolt. You know, I mean, they were running those bolts like crazy.
You have to have a pretty well made gun to be able to do it. Because a lot of them, like the angles that they'll come out at, is kind of difficult. But that is another one too. Like anytime I sight my gun in on like a bench rest, like I try to never come off the gun.
Okay.
So I try to like cycle it and everything, just to practice it, because like Brandon said, it's very good practice. Because like especially if you have like you're at max magnification shooting an animal and you take a shot, like the gun's gonna jump, so the gun's gonna jump somewhere, and then if you take the gun down to rack it, when you bring it back up, you're at full magnification trying to find this thing.
You're searching for something.
So it's really good practice, like I said, to stay on the gun, and it does take practice. So I do try to practice that, but it's something that I've kind of like once you get it, like you kind of get it. The whole African thing, that's a whole different thing. But like just being able to sit like on like a box stand or something and have like the front hand supporting the rifle on your shoulder and then squeeze off around and then cycle the bolt.
Right.
That's once you learn it, it's pretty simple and it's like second nature. It's like the equivalent of like shooting a pistol and like if you're target shooting, like staying on the gun and working through the optic and not dropping the optic. It's kind of the same principle. Like once you do it, it feels weird to do it opposite. It feels weird for me to come off the gun to rack the bolt. So that's kind of it for hunting. Stock up on ammunition this time of year and then run the gun. Shotguns, obviously, unfortunately, you can't run them in our range, but like Brandon said, go shoot skeet, hone in your skills, because it all falls into the same category that we always say, that humanely taking animals, and that's 100% what we believe in. And that's why that goes back to that conversation of like, if I wanted to, I truly believe I could take a 600 to 800 yard shot with my 308 on like a cow, elk or something. But at that range, do I believe that ballistically it would be humane?
No, that's why you want that 300.
Yeah, 300 Win Mag. It's more about, it's less about confidence and more about humane taking of an animal, right? So
that makes sense.
And like we know, somebody was in the shop yesterday talking about this, that like anytime they go to take an animal, they do like a week or 2 weeks worth of research on the animal's vitals at different positions, and they'll practice aiming at that. And so like that's a really, really good thing for me to do in my mind, is like because I'm all about that, is humanely taking animals and stuff. One, because it's obviously it's humane. 2, because it's better on the meat. If you do happen to not take an animal humanely, it actually does damage the meat, because they start pumping in chemicals into it. So it makes everything a lot more tense. And then it's like finding the animal, and then you don't want to have to shoot it again, and then you're damaging meat. And some people go to alternative methods, like I'm not going to talk about them, but so anyway,
I think one of the kind of goes into that too, but one of the best things to practice as a hunter is like getting set up. So like this is the most important thing. That's what separates a good hunter from some guy that just goes and tries to shoot animals.
Right.
Because in hunting, it's all about time, right? Like you only have 30 seconds in order to take this animal, because that's the way it's turned broadside, right? So like some people might be like, hey, I can see the animal, so I'm gonna get my gun set up and just wait for it to turn. But sometimes you never get that opportunity, right? Or you might get the opportunity right at the beginning, and all of a sudden it turns and it starts walking away. So now they don't get to take that animal. So if you can practice that, you can do that in your backyard. Like get your shooting sticks, or if you have a tripod or whatever it might be, walking and then setting up the tripod and being able to press the trigger within like 30 seconds, right? If you can do that, or if you're in a box stand, like having the gun on the side, like while you're sitting down and practicing getting the gun up, resting it down, and pressing the trigger within 30 seconds. So practice that at your house, wherever you need to.
Box stands and stuff like that, I try to recommend people still have like a tripod, or to learn how to have their gun sitting out the window, because like I know people that like if you're sitting there in a box stand and your rifle's up against the corner and a 12 point walks out, you're gonna start shitting yourself, right? You're gonna drop this gun, right? So I always try to keep like, and then to me, and I'm not disagreeing at all, I'm just saying like to me it's like kind of like a reassurance safety thing, that like I always try to keep the muzzle out the end of the thing, because like my gun specifically has like an extremely light, it's like 8 ounces trigger in it, and the safety stays on, but like I still am just kind of weary about like that trigger so light. And then like you never know if like you had it out the window and you were sitting there and then you had the safety off and then the animal walked away and your adrenaline's 180 beats per minute. You put the gun back in the corner now in safety. So I always try to tell people like bring a tripod, keep it stuck out the window. It's a safety thing, and you can get on the gun faster and more, and way quieter. So I try to do that when I hunt. Like, and I've even had like things where like people have put me into like on guided hunts into like soft stands, like those. It's not a stand,
lines.
like pop-up line, exactly. And you can't put the gun out the window because it just collapses, right? So like basically on that hunt, all I'm doing is like I put the gun out the window and it sits on my shoulder the entire time. Like it's not a fun way to hunt, but like I know that if something were to walk out, I would make way more noise trying to get the gun up.
You're ready.
Yeah. So it's a boring way to hunt because like you're sitting there with the gun on your shoulder, playing on your phone or whatever. But it's like I know that I'm gonna if a 12-point walks out, I'm gonna fuck something up trying to get the gun
trying
up,
to get it up. Yeah.
So and like the Mississippi buck that I killed last year was the same thing. Like it was a box stand and I had the gun rested on the stand the entire time and just had it shouldered, waiting, and like binoculars and everything. And it was the same exact experience where like it was a 300. This was the trip where I bought a rangefinder before the trip. I never owned a rangefinder, and I got to the stand and I was like, man, I'm gonna start. It was like trees. I was like, I'm gonna start ranging the trees and see how far each one is. That way, I don't have to guess or pull it up when the buck walks out.
Right.
And if a buck walks out, so I like ranged a tree, clicking the button and nothing's happening. I forgot to put the battery in it, so I didn't have a rangefinder. So I was using my scope, and I knew that like the knuckles on trees, how big they were. So I was using like the math of my scope to do it. And so I had it was like right before sundown, and a doe ran all the way across the field, and she stopped and she turned around and looked behind her, and I was like, oh, this is it. So so like I got on the gun and like I couldn't have my magnification all the way up, and then so like I was trying to figure out which tree she was coming at, guessed it was like 300 yards, turned it for 300 yards, and that buck that I killed ran out, stopped for like half a second, and because I was on the gun, like he was going to keep going, and the doe ran. So he stopped and then like did one look and I shot him. If not, he'd have taken off running. If my gun would have been in the corner, there's no way I shot that deer.
Right.
Yeah, no way.
Yeah. No, it makes sense. Be ready and practice it. Yeah. So that's a good thing to practice in the off season. I think.
Very good.
Yeah, for sure. So, guys, we've been getting for an hour. I think we could potentially dig into getting ready for defense, but I think also that could take it out another hour.
That's all year round.
Yeah,
that should be.
That's a year
We'll chalk that up to all year round. You should be practicing once a month at least.
We'll pull that up next time.
Dry fire and stuff.
Yeah. So for sure. Cool. Well, so I think that's good. So clean your guns, clean your hunting.
Please.
Hunting guns. Again, one last plug for Max's class. If you guys are interested here locally, or if you guys are listening from other states, class is going to be it's posted on maxmichel.com
March 8th and 9th.
Yeah, March 8th and 9th. If you have the ability, come take it.
Yep. And we may even have like a Sentry manufacturing appearance. We'll sign autograph. I'm joking.
Yeah, I'll sign. Bring your deadlock. I'll sign it.
Yeah, Brown Duke
Gun Show. Yeah,
depreciation immediate.
Oh, yeah, it's terrible. It probably won't even run in your gun anymore.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny, man. But definitely sign up first class. Anybody.
Yeah, awesome. All right, thanks, guys.